Welcome to this week's episode of Insights. During today's show, we're going to be focused on two specific topics. One's going to be the crisis in Artsakh and at our borders. And the second one is the mass influx of Russians coming to Armenia over the last 10 days since the beginning of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. The aggressions really have two parts. One of them involves the Armenia-Azerbaijan border, and the second one is what's going on in Artsakh, which is frankly far more critical. On our borders, on the last couple of days, there's been shootings and in some cases mortars used by the Aliyev regime to attack fixed Armenian positions. During this firing over the last few days, an Armenian soldier got killed in this back and forth shooting, which was all instigated by the Aliyev regime. The more critical situation, however, is in Artsakh, the village of Kharmort, which is in the Askeran region. There's been firings, shootings towards that area, and this constant barrage of intimidation with loudspeakers of people in Armenian telling people to leave, that they should leave the area, vacate the area, to essentially try to ethnically cleanse that part of Artsakh also. This got extended into the Martuni region yesterday, and this is obviously a concerted pattern of intimidation using a distracted world to cause problems and essentially make Artsakh unlivable. The crescendo with this was a couple of days ago. The natural gas pipeline that goes from Armenia to Artsakh, which passes through territory controlled by the Aliyev regime, broke down or was blown up. That is not very clear. What is clear is that the Aliyev regime is not allowing the Russian crews that are there to enter and actually fix this gas pipeline. So this is a concerted effort to intimidate people in Artsakh and essentially try to force them out to continue this process of ethnic cleansing that they started during the war. Now, what does this all mean? It's very clear that this is all related to the Ukraine-Russia issue in the sense that there's a world distracted and the fact that the Russians are distracted into something that's obviously far more critical for them, which is the war in Ukraine. The second thing that this shows is their true colors. This is not an adversary, in this case the Aliyev regime, that is in any way interested in peace long-term. What they're interested is in ethnic cleansing. What they want is Artsakh back without any Armenians. That is their goal. That is their intention. This is what these plans are about. What does this lead to? This, again, clarifies this issue even further. There's nothing to negotiate with these people. The only outcome, given the fact that the purpose of the Aliyev regime is to commit ethnic cleansing and genocide in Artsakh, is to move towards earned sovereignty, to make sure that in a legally binding way, the Aliyev regime has absolutely no say over the lives of the Armenians of Artsakh. Let's move on to the second topic of the week, which is the great influx and the outflow of people that we're seeing from Russia since the beginning of the war. For anyone who's not here, you haven't noticed, the streets are essentially full of people from Russia. It is estimated that about 50,000 Russians have arrived in Armenia since the beginning of the war. There are about, up until the cancellations of Aeroflot until a couple of days ago, there were almost 40 flights a day. Now we're down to about 10 or 15 flights a day, but there's a continual influx of people coming to Armenia from all different parts of Russia. In truth, this is too early of a phenomenon to have any exact understanding of what this really means. We know a few things just from the observations that we've had over the last week. And the first thing is that many of these people are actually being hired by the IT firms in Armenia, because many of them are quite capable and talented, and we have great shortages and needs of IT talent. So many of them are essentially coming here and immediately getting jobs and moving into work. What this has done is this has greatly impacted the demand for housing and office space in Yerevan. If you talk to people who are either on Airbnb or people who are renting long-term. Rents have gone up somewhere between 20 to 50%, depending on who you speak to. And there's tremendous demand for office space because there's no place to put all of these people. And there's always been a shortage of quality office space in Armenia. When you look at the population that's coming here from Russia, it's obviously, you get all kinds of people, but it seems to be, this is the very Western-oriented and sort of the alternative Russian set that is moving here. In some ways, it is fair to say this is somewhat the Russian opposition moving abroad, even though I think that's a broad generalization. But the types of people that we're seeing are exactly the types of people that are the ground forces of any political change anywhere, and they're coming here, and they're obviously not going to be a threat to their government back at home. So I think this is sort of a mutual type of arrangement that works for everyone. In close, let's sort of get a sense of why they're coming here and what all of this means. Armenia has actually been a refuge for people coming from many different places over the years. In fact, when it comes to Syrian refugees, and I think per capita, we've taken the second largest number of Syrian refugees in the world. And we've had people from all over the place, as far as Iran, people who don't want to live under that government have been coming here and living for many, many years. And with this recent influx of Russians, we're sort of seeing this effect where we're becoming this, the new Amsterdam, what Amsterdam was in the 17th century for this region, which is a free port in which all kinds of people who want to live their lives or pursue their careers can come and live in a democratic and non-repressive society. What is consistent around the world, and this is a good example of it, is that when people flee any situation, they will always, if given the choice, will find the freest country closest to them, and this is where they will go and try to settle or continue their lives, or even move from there to someplace else. But they will always find the country that is most free and democratic and closest to being ruled by the rule of law. One thing that is also clear here is that they are having a great impact here. They've changed the face of the city in many ways. Yerevan has become a much more international place. Obviously, there's many people benefiting from this locally, businesses and other things. Obviously, I don't think this mitigates the disaster that this war has caused economically around the world, but it obviously has an impact here or there. In short, if you're going to put this in a few simple words, is freedom works. Thank you for joining me in this week's episode of Insights.